Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pastor Mona, and this is March 27, my update with you. I wanted to share a few things that I experienced myself this week and what God has been teaching me, and as I seek Him and as I want to have answers for my own life in regards to how are we going to navigate through this as a church. One of the comments that I heard was, our response in the wake of danger or uncertainty isn't to ignore pain, but to draw people to God's peace. We cannot forget our great hope, where we find our hope. Our hope is in Jesus. He's never changed. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. We have a confidence in knowing that He's always with us. John 16:33 says this, "These things I have spoken to you, that in Him, in me, you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation." That's what He says in John 16. "But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." Now the scripture tells us where we can find our peace. It's Jesus. We can find Him. He's our peace that we have, regardless what we're going through, whatever uncertainty we're going through. We know that He's going to be there. He's going to face it with us. We are going with an unshakable hope that doesn't change based on our present circumstances. We might not know where this crisis is going, but we do know God. We know Him. We know His nature, His character. We know what He has done for us in the past, and we know what He can do for us today. So we will be okay, and we are not abandoned in all this. So I want to share something that I had the experience of being taught this week. I was asking God about why did I feel such loss, and I realized that everything that I was used to doing in my daily life, and just doing what I do for the church and for my family, everything has been disrupted. And as I was looking at and listening to a teaching on Dr. Henry Cloud, where he talked about the psychology of crisis, this is where I came to the understanding there are certain things that are very scripturally sound, certain things that I think we might have forgotten, and I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share what I believe that if we start practicing, that we can actually coast and get through this crisis without losing much ground. I realize that I need to be real. The first thing that I need to be real with is the loss of this crisis. What I'm losing in this crisis, I can't go anywhere. I've lost control of a whole lot of different things. The fear that I experience with the uncertainty, the anxiety that you might be experiencing at this point, or the being overwhelmed with the loneliness or the boredom of all of that, the physical distancing, the social distancing that we're asking, that we've been asked by the government to stay home and to do these things. So Dr. Henry Cloud describes how our brain builds maps of how life is supposed to be. And when something happens, when a crisis happens, our brain picks up that there's something wrong. And if we don't process that something that's gone wrong, what happens is that there's certain things that happen. We start getting overloaded, and it stops us in our tracks. So how do we reset the brain? How do we get back to that? Because we all have an infrastructure in how we do life every day. But when a crisis comes, that infrastructure comes into play. That means that it's like an earthquake. When we have an earthquake, everything gets shaken and moved, and then we have these little aftershocks. And these things could be even more dangerous for us because we don't know how to have our footing and all that, and we need help to understand what we need to do. So this is what he shared, and I want to share it with you because I just brought me back to just scriptural principles that he's been showing me over a lifetime of being in ministry, and just different things that I've gone through. And if you follow through on these, I believe that all of us, we will have a story to tell. All of us, we will have a testimony to share, and how much we went through this crisis and we stood. Now, the first thing he talked about is the importance, it's foundational, the importance of being real of what you're going through. And that's what I've been doing every day as I actually do my quiet time. I'm just very real. God, I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. I'm easily, moved. I'm asking you, God. So I'm just processing it with God. But I also do that with my husband and those that are in my home and others others who call me. I'm just being real. I'm honest. I tell them what I'm thinking. And I think this is where we have to start. This is foundational. Without that, we can't build the house. So we need to actually start processing, reflecting, being mindful of what we're going through, and just calling it out. I'm fearful. I'm anxious. I don't know how to do this. And be okay with that. The second thing that he talks about, how we're going to reset our brain, because right now it's overloaded with all of the change, all of the loss, all of the lack of control that we have. In order to reset, foundational, we have to be real. Secondly, we have to connect. Ephesians 4:16 says we need to be knit together. That means that there's a closeness happening. There's a, let's talk together. Let's be real. Let's be honest with each other. Be authentic. And I really believe that God has been asking us to do this. This is in scripture. But so a lot of us, we've not seen the importance of what connection does in a times of stressors. Connection is a human function. If we don't connect well, we will find ourselves experiencing discouragement, despair, and depression. What we see statistically, not even in the Christian realm, just psychologically, people who don't connect on a daily basis with other people will find themselves greater in the capacity of doing that downward spiral into depression and discouragement. So connection is very, very real. It causes us growth. It defines how we're going to be dealing with it. And like I said, if it's disrupted, which it is right now, it's disrupted in many ways. We just have to do connection differently now. When it's disrupted, our systems can go overload. So we need to connect with others. You now are probably stuck at home with the same old people every day or same young people every day. And now you need to understand you could be in a house together with people, but it doesn't mean you're connecting. So we need to ask each other the question, how are you feeling today? Are you fearful? Are you going through this? What are you going through? How are you actually dealing with your anxiety? We need to ask these questions in order to connect with each other. And so this is serious. It's a stressful time. We need to learn to connect because everything has changed now. If you name it, you will not get stuck in it. So once you bring it out and you name it, you won't get stuck in it. Apart from connection with those in your house, you have an ability to be connected with others through your social media. You can use Facebook, WhatsApp, Google Hangout. You can phone, you can email, you can text. We are not without our resources. We need to learn to connect. Now, all of us have deep connections in our lives. Some of us have shallow connections. The shallow connections are people who really can't give you a whole lot, but they can make you laugh at times, but they just can't deal with life. But you have those deep connectors where they're just going to make you think things out. You need those voices in your life right now in this particular moment. You need to do that. So don't forget to build your friendships right now. Don't forget to continue to connect with those that actually cause you to be your best. And they are there for you. Connect with them. So we are doing a lot of different things for you as a church to help you connect. You have the One Body Ministry that gives you a different aspect every day. You can see people, bringing in their requests, telling them what's going on. You're going to see this video in One Body Ministry on the website, Facebook Messenger, all of those things. So we're going to do that. Every Friday, I will do a video for you, updating. If you have questions, send them to me, and I will make sure that I'll answer those questions for you. If you want to call me, please don't hesitate. Me and Pastor Glenn, we're free. Really, we're home. Give us a call. Connect with us. We are your shepherd. We would love to hear how you're doing. So give us a shout. We want you to connect with us. As a church, we also, what I'm seeing right now, I'm in awe. Many of you are connecting with others. I see people phoning each other. I see men doing the group prayer groups, women doing prayer groups. If you want to know more, find out through the One Body Ministry where these things are happening. If you want to develop and bring it up, I have now Maya, who's going to do videos on worship for me for Tuesday nights, because we do Tuesday night. We're going to do Tuesday with the pastors here for prayer requests. You can join us. We're going to have worship at 6:30 for you, so you can tap into that. On Sunday morning, I have my Chrissy and Erica who are going to do a set of worship for you at 10 o'clock, and then I will do the online service from the church at 10:30. We are going to give you all that you need to connect with others. You are not alone. We are family. We need to remember we have that. We are one body. We need to be knit together, and I believe we're going to get through this together. All of us are going to move forward in growth and not lose any grounds. You also have to remember Pastor Glenn is meeting with you every evening from Friday to Monday to Friday, I should say, at 6 o'clock. And so you can see him. He's going to give you a little bit of tidbit of information on the book of Philippians, and just a little bit of his wisdom. I've been enjoying them, so hopefully you'll tap into that. This leads me to, so the first thing is foundational, which means that you have to be real. Second, you need to learn to connect, use your resources. Thirdly, structure. You need to actually build routine, schedule, patterns. We need a sense of sameness. We were built like this. And if you do nothing, there's a quote that he says that we need to avoid the loss at sea principle, where we do nothing. We need to avoid this at all costs. This is the reason why so many of us are getting so weighed down with our thoughts and our feelings. Please, beloved, I'm asking you, don't take this principle. Just go and do things. Bring in a routine. Do the things that you haven't done, that you can catch up. Your housework, your financial work, all the different things. Make a routine with your family and yourself. Get to exercise. Go for a walk with your husband or your wife. Do those things. I'm also going to caution you to limit your time and how much you are listening to the news. You should go maybe a little bit in the morning, afternoon, and an evening. Get your updates. Find out what's going on. And do the recommendations. Obey the physical distances. But remember to always connect. I got to talk to our mayor this week because I really wanted to make sure that in our area we're okay to do the online at the church, that people come to help me to do this. I can't do it alone. But she said we're good to go. The one thing that really actually spoke to me, she said, listen, you guys have a message of hope. You need to get your message out. People need to hear there's hope and there's a place where they can actually process their troubles. I was so pleased to see that. So on Sunday, I have a group of people. We're usually not more than 10. We do all that we are recommended to do, and then we do this for you. We get together to make sure you have a message, and we stay together as we go through this. Talk to many others, nurses in our community, the food bank director, just the government site can give you some information. Go to those trusted voices, beloved, not what people are quoting and making. You have to go to the things that are always repeated, always, all the time, at the same time, with different people who know what they're doing. Please go to the trusted voices to find out your information and obey what the recommendations are saying. The next one brings us to when we're in a crisis, we usually lose our choices and our control. And this affects our system. And what happens is our system becomes overloaded. And if we're not doing number one, which is being real with it, and we're not connecting, what happens is that the stress of all of that and the fear of all that weighs us down, where our system gets shut down and we'll respond. So you'll either respond in flight, or freeze. I usually fall into the flight and freeze thing, and I don't do the fight thing anymore. I don't respond in anger when things are changed and I have no control. I thank the Lord for that. But I do have to be mindful that there are times I'll go into the flight or freeze. And when I do, I just go back to number one. I just process it. I'll be real with it. I connect with others who are voices that I trust in my life that tells me, hey, get back online. You're going to be okay. We all need it. So what do you do when you lose control? Do you fight? Do you flight? Do you do the flight, which is isolate, withdraw? Or do you freeze? You become paralyzed with all of the uncertainty. So how you do that will dictate how you're going to get yourself. Remember, you need to reset your brain. The fifth one, almost finished, is control. And we need to remember that there's many things we have no control over. in this particular thing. We can't control this virus, but we certainly can control if we can spread it or not. Glenn was showing me a meme of a young boy who her mother was telling him all the time, man, you're not going to amount to anything. You do nothing but sitting on the couch. Now, he said to his mom one day, he got up, he said, look, Mom, I'm saving the world. Well, he had no choice. He's isolated. He's on the couch. But I do believe that we need to stay home. Stay home when is needed. Go out when you have to. Do what the government is telling you to do. Please obey what they're asking you to do so that we can diminish the spreading of this virus. Now, many times when we have no control, we feel a sense of powerlessness. And when that sets in, that can actually bring you to a place of discouragement and despair and tremendous, where that paralyzing happens. We need to know that God is in control in all this, but we need to be real with that. I want you to consider writing down on a piece of paper 3 columns. 1, the things that you're not controlled of, you have no control over. The things that you do. You know, you have control over your time. You have control over your finances. You have control over a whole bunch of things that you can put together. You have control of how you're going to respond, how you eat or don't eat. You have control of how you connect or don't connect. You have a whole lot of control. But sometimes we have to do those things. We have to go and find out what are the things that we don't have control, and we just need to surrender it to God. Leave the outcome to God. The things that you do have to control, that means that you have to be mindful of your thoughts. You have to take that quiet time with God. You have to be intentional to seek the word. You have to go and find other people. This you're in control of. And then the last thing is that write down a thing of goals that you can do, just weekly goals that you can set for yourself, because that leads you to the last point, is accomplishment. You and I know that when we finish something, we feel pretty good about ourselves. So we don't want that white space going on where there's nothing going on and you feel horrible about yourself. You really have to take the time to organize certain things, give yourself some short-term goals to accomplish. And when you do, you will feel better. You'll feel more confident, more happy. It's just what it is. So set goals, take the time to catch up on things that you might have not had time because you've been too busy in the last several months. Now you do have some time to do that. So you don't have to worry about anything about, will you remember everything that I just said to you? We're going to post just a sheet on those 6 things that you have to remember. I'm telling you, I do believe Dr. Henry Cloud when he says if we practice a new way how to handle our crisis, we can actually develop new maps in our brains, and we will actually become resilient and steadfast in what we're going through. So on the church website, the Facebook, and on the One Body Ministry, we'll give you the list of what I've just shared with you, just those 6 points. So I need you to stay in the present. I'm going to finish off with this. Matthew 6:34 says this, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself, its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. God understands what tomorrow's coming. So we need to be mindful in what we are thinking. We need to understand God is above it all. He's sovereign. He's in control. You need to invest in your spiritual life, beloved. I'm going to encourage you every time to do that. But I want to finish with Psalm 91:9. It says, if you make the Most High, if is a choice, if you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord who is my refuge, he says, then no harm will befall you, no disaster will come near you, your tent. I think it's not really about the physical stuff. It's about what's going on inside of our brain, inside of our mind, inside of our hearts. I want to stay true to what God is calling me to do right now. And I know that all of these things are biblical principles you can walk out to. I hope these things help you. I hope you know you're not alone. We love you. We're family. Thank you for giving to the church. Thank you for keeping us in prayer. We are blessed people. We are truly, truly not alone. We love you. We're praying for you, and we will speak to you soon. Have a wonderful day.